production funding for Behind the Headlines is made possible in part by the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
The local impact of the World Golf Championship tonight on Behind the Headlines. I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian. Thanks for joining us. I am joined tonight by Daryl Smith, Executive Director with the World Golf Championship FedEx St. Jude Invitational. Thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Along with Jeff Calkins, columnist with the Daily Memphian. So this is a significant change. And I will say, as a sort of casual sports fan, well, a casual golf fan actually, I didn't understand. I remember it was about a year ago that this announcement came out that the tournament, the long-time FedEx St. Jude tournament was going to be World Golf Championship. And I thought, oh, okay, well, there's a little something, but it's a PR thing or something. I mean, I didn't mean it cynically, but I just didn't get it.
Yeah, no
and then a friend of mine said, oh, this is a big deal. And another person said, oh, this is a big deal. And it clearly is. But for people who aren't as close to this as you and Jeff, why is this such a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, without question. Last April, we announced that the WGC would be moving from Akron, Ohio to Memphis, Tennessee. And when we made that announcement, instantly you become one of the top 10 golf tournaments in the entire world. There's 4 major championships, and then closely followed by the Players Championship that's played in Jacksonville, Florida, the home of the PGA Tour there in Ponte Vedra Beach, and then this WGC's World Golf Championship. So, just with that announcement, we were elevated in the golf calendar instantly. And at the end of the day, it features the best players in the world, and the best players in the world of golf are going to be in Memphis. And with that comes more attention. It has more corporate support, more people from outside our area coming into our area to see this golf tournament. So it's a very exciting time for us.
And so, again, for people who aren't as close to this stuff, you've got I think people know the Masters and the U.S. Open. Those are the 4 majors. You talked about the Players Championship. The tournament that we had was sort of underneath the World Golf Championship, right? It was there are lots of tournaments. How many?
Yeah, there's 45.
I'm not trying to diminish them, but
there are 45 plus
tournaments,
on the PGA Tour, and the FedEx St. Jude Classic was known as a co-sanctioned tournament. So it's just one of the tournaments that are really the lifeblood of the PGA Tour. They go into communities and they play golf, and they have a great charitable impact in that community. But at the end of the day, it's you're challenged to get the best players in the world. There's so many great golfers. They're all not going to play 45 times in a calendar year. So what we did when we became a World Golf Championship is that we just transitioned into a larger platform where the best players tend to play. No disrespect to the FedEx St. Jude Classic. We're extremely happy with the FedEx St. Jude Classic and its unbelievable success over 60 plus years. And it was extremely successful from financially, from charitably, all aspects of it. But when we were proposed this opportunity, and FedEx has always been very vocal about if there's a way that we could improve our hometown tournament, really where we got involved in sports marketing back in 1989, that we would be interested. And of course, with a relationship with the PGA Tour, that they do business with the PGA Tour often, this opportunity came with the Akron tournament taking a shift. And at the end of the day, that was a driving factor of, hey, we're going to be able to have a world-class tournament, and it's going to improve what the FedEx St. Jude Classic was.
Obviously, a lot of great players played in the FedEx St. Jude, the old version. But it would still be suspense every single. You would hope Phil would come, because Phil has been magnificent for this tournament the last few years. Explain to folks, who already do you know who's coming? There's a certain player who we may discuss during the course of this show who may or may not be coming. But explain to folks why everyone comes to this darn thing?
Yeah,
and who's coming so far?
Yes. So in the past, you're right, Jeff. We would sit anxiously at 5 o'clock on Friday and have our fingers crossed that we might get a surprise. And we have been fortunate over the last several years that Phil Mickelson played us 6 years in a row, and Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka, who are the number 1, number 2 ranked players in the world, have been very loyal to Memphis. Brooks has played here the last 5 years, and Dustin's played 5 out of the last 6 years. So, we were very happy with those guys, and we would always have our fingers crossed that we would get more at the commitment deadline. But at the end of the day, the WGC, the guys start their schedule with these in mind. So when they sit in the September or October when the season's over, they're going to say, hey, I hope I get qualified for the 4 majors, and I hope I get qualified for the World Golf Championships. They're no-cut events, so it's guaranteed money, which always helps.
They're here all weekend.
They're
so
here
if
all
they
week.
If they miss the cut, they're still here.
Exactly. So,
I
mean, there's no cut. So if they, for some reason, don't have their game that week and they go out and shoot 275s, well, they're still around on Saturday and they can, keep on improving. So there's guaranteed money. The biggest thing is that they like to compete against the best fields in golf. There's more world ranking points, so there's a lot more volatility if you are, lower in the world golf rankings, like say 35 to 50. If you were to win a World Golf Championship, you would definitely go up in those rankings, and that's what all those guys want to do, is they want to be at the top of the official World Golf rankings. It gets them more eligibility to the major championships. And then also, just talking about the no cut and the guaranteed money, we have one of the largest purses in all of professional golf. I mean, $10.25 million will be, awarded during the World Golf Championship. That compares to $6.6 million of the FedEx St. Jude Classic. So the winner will get just shy of $2 million, which is a significant increase from what they got with the FedEx St. Jude Classic. So that right there is one of the main reasons why they come. Just to my earlier point of they build their schedules around it, we already have 5 of the top 10 players in the world that have committed. Last year at the commitment deadline, we had 2 of the top 10. We still have 20 or so days to go. We expect that number just to increase.
There is this man, Tiger Woods, that I have read about. That have you thought about asking him to come?
Yeah, we've thought about asking him to play for the last, since he's been playing golf in the early 90s. There's no question. And, Tiger, he transcends the game of golf. He is one of the most well-known celebrities in all of the world. So Tiger is eligible to play, which is key, because in the recent years he hasn't been eligible to play for World Golf Championships. I mean, last year he played so much golf because he wanted to become eligible for these type of events. So that also speaks to the stature of the sport. But we won't know for Tiger until closer to the commitment deadline. But he's already played 2 World Golf Championships, of course, this year.
And I should back up again for people not quite so familiar. July 24th.
July 24th
that's the Friday or the Thursday that it's.
So July 24th is actually the Wednesday.
Okay.
And the first day that we're open to the public is Wednesday of tournament week, and then our final round is July 28th on Sunday.
What do you expect in terms of patrons? Let's do Tiger and without Tiger. Yeah. I mean, you must have 2 plans. Do you have you may not find out till the Friday before whether he's definitely coming, or certainly just. Do you have a Tiger plan, whether it's security, whether it's selling more tickets, whether it's, I don't know how, what do you expect the boost to be?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we've already planned for an increase with the WGC and the field that we're expecting.
How much bigger, even with or without?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And we've never had a deal with Tiger here in Memphis, but our peers and our colleagues of mine in the business, and when Tiger goes to a market that he's never played, like Tampa, he went to that market 2 years ago. Austin, Texas, he went to that market earlier this year. They seem a significant increase. I mean, they are up 50% over where they were, sometimes 100% over where they were. I think for us, where we're in Memphis, it's such a regional attraction. You got to think that Nashville, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Little Rock, Arkansas, Boot Hill, Missouri, all of those people, if he does decide to play our event, this is the closest access they're ever going to get to Tiger Woods. And everybody remembers the first time they saw Tiger. So, time will tell as far as what that impact is. But we're already planning. We have 2 plans, to your point, right, Jeff. And we have 2 plans that, we already expected increased attendance, but we also know if he does decide to play, it's going to hit another level.
And that attendance historically has been what?
Yeah, so we kind of had a little bit of the honor system going on the back 9 at TPC Southwind. Had a green and white rope that separated us from 500 homes at Southwind, and there's going to be much more infrastructure with the WGC. But historically, we've had about 10 to 12,000 people per day on Saturday and Sunday. We think we're at about 50 to 60,000 people for the week is what we think for the entire tournament week.
That's without Tiger.
That's without Tiger, yeah, for sure. Our early ticket sales are extremely strong. We're one of the strongest ones on the PGA Tour right now, our early ticket sales, so we expect that just to increase. At the end of the day, I don't know what that number is. I think if we were 20,000 strong out there, then that would be a significant increase that you would really feel.
I do think that the importance of FedEx in all of this is it was not so long ago that this golf tournament was teetering. Stanford had come in, it blew up. FedEx
Stanford
has,
Financial.
Stanford Financial had come in, yes, not the university, the Stanford Financial came in, things did not go well. And FedEx has been absolutely unflagging in their support, obviously of their support of Memphis broadly, but it's obviously, and this would not have happened but for FedEx. This is FedEx and its investment in Memphis that made this happen.
No question about it. I mean, FedEx at the end of the day, I mean, they believe in the PGA Tour. You know, they've been involved with us since 1986. They're the sponsor of the FedEx Cup.
FedEx Cup, for people who don't know.
Yeah, so the FedEx Cup is a season-long points competition on the PGA Tour. So, you know, the players are playing to win the FedEx Cup at the end of the day. So every tournament on the PGA Tour has a points system allotted to it. First place gets you 500 points, and there's a leaderboard that takes you through all the weeks of the PGA Tour. We award the FedEx Cup at the Tour Championship in Atlanta at historic East Lake Golf Club. So the guys are, you know, they're competing for the FedEx Cup. It's important to them that they want to win the FedEx Cup. FedEx's support of the PGA Tour in Memphis, you know, you can't understate how important it is to the tournament. I mean, they stepped back up when Stanford Financial did come across those troubles. They've been associated with the golf tournament for quite some time. And like I said earlier, they just want to continue to improve our event, and they played a huge role in this.
I remember, a slight digression, but staying on FedEx, I remember when the forum was being built and when the Grizzlies were coming, and there was this, it was sort of, as I remember it, you know, loosely, it felt like it was between us and Louisville, and the KFC people, the corporations behind KFC, and I think Yum and Pepsi, brands. And they were talking about 220,000, you know, this $1 million commitment to get the then Vancouver Grizzlies to come. And I remember a lot of people saying, oh, well, we're out, we're done. And there was somebody from FedEx who stood up at a podium and said, we've heard the numbers coming out of Louisville and we are not concerned. But you know, when you think about that and how what they have done, sometimes what you think is, well, they're doing this for Memphis, which is true. But FedEx does massive amounts of sports marketing worldwide.
I think there's two things happening here, and Daryl knows more about this than I do, but their investment in golf is because they believe that they wouldn't be doing it if they don't think it's good for FedEx, very clearly. Apart from that, though, FedEx doesn't need more brand awareness in Memphis in terms of FedEx Forum.
Right.
They did not need their name on FedEx Forum. There's national stuff that goes along with that because the Grizzlies are in the playoffs. You get here, we are at FedEx Forum. But I think so some of it, I think their interest in golf is it's generally because it's good for FedEx. But when they do something like step up and put their name on FedEx Forum and buy naming rights, that's because they're good corporate citizens. And with you, it's sort of those things coalesce.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, they're intertwined. There's no doubt. I mean, the golf it works for their business, but you know, this was their very first sports marketing endeavor in professional sports was Memphis's PGA Tour event.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, so I mean, this is where they kind of got their feet wet, and it's been a fabric of that, you know, of that company. I mean, we're literally in their backyard too. I mean, FedEx World headquarters.
They come out during lunch.
Yeah, they come out during lunch and see TPC South win, and they see the tournament, and there's, you know, FedEx team members that are volunteers. I mean, it's a family affair as it relates to FedEx, and then of course with St. Jude and the impact that, you know, the tournament's had for St. Jude over the years, you know, raising over $43 million. That's key to FedEx's involvement, is making sure that St. Jude is integrated in this community and that we're raising money for them.
It's going to be a little different. Can I ask you a few quick questions that people are concerned about? One is the seersucker jackets are gone, right? Seersucker jackets are gone. The corn dogs, the Pronto Pups, Pronto Pups, let's call them by their proper name, the Pronto Pups.
They will be alive and well.
The Pronto Pups will be there.
Yep.
What other changes when you walk out to the golf tournament? What else you got to see?
Yeah, I mean, that's been our focus all year, is just try to, you know, reimagine the FedEx St. Jude Classic and not get rid of anything from the FedEx St. Jude Classic, but the things that work, try to amplify that in the WGC in this bigger model. But, you know, we want the event to be a true reflection of Memphis, and if that's celebrating the, you know, top barbecue restaurants that, you know, are more well-known barbecue restaurants in our city, which was a hard discussion, to be honest, because there are barbecue politics in our city and great barbecue restaurants. But
you got 4 of them.
We got 4 of them. Okay. Well, we got 4 of them.
We got a place called the Pit.
We got a place called the Pit.
4.
Yep.
What happens? How do you do that? What you should do is take a barbecue off and have the 4 winners every year.
No doubt.
It's sort of like a little miniature FedEx Cup.
We might have to do that in order to figure out which 4 should come on a yearly basis. But a lot of those partners had supported the tournament in the past at the FedEx St. Jude Classic. It made sense to go to those partners. So, you know, we'll have the Pit located on the front 9 between the 2 silos on 8 and 9. We'll have the best food trucks in Memphis located on the back 9 and between 13 and 14. which we're extremely excited about. More shaded, covered bleachers for the spectators. There's no doubt that we're a summertime sport. So we're playing in July, where the temperature will be like summer. So we want to make sure that our fans have plenty of cover to watch the great players in the game of golf. We'll have more fan activations inside the area called the Hub, which will be a place for people to come inside, cool off, see some different fan attractions like the AutoZone Fan Zone or the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee Family Care Suite. So we definitely have been very focused on that. Hey, when you come on site, that you experience a difference from the FedEx St. Jude Classic.
You have set a record on corporate mentions in just the first 16 minutes of the show. So I do appreciate that you're leading the pack.
You should get a NASCAR.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're going to start swapping out hats.
Very important piece.
Yeah, there's nothing on your lapel as far as I can see. Let's stay local. The local impact. You talk about big money that is, and these. Well, everybody talks about their big local impact, but don't you talk about $50 to $60 million in local economic impact? And where does that play out? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I mean, so we know the tournament's going to have a significant economic impact for our city. We're going to have over 300 media members from around the world in our city just alone, which in the past we had about 30 working media that were covering the FedEx St. Jude Classic. But, Hideki Matsuyama, who's a Japanese professional golfer, will have 25 media members that were going to be coming from Northern Ireland to Memphis, Tennessee.
Northern Ireland, because people who don't follow us are like, wait, he just said none of that's going to make any sense. Yeah. Northern Ireland is that there's a big tournament the weekend.
There is, yeah. Okay. So the Open Championship in Northern Ireland is the week preceding us. So all the guys that will be playing in our event are going to be coming back to Memphis in order, for the World Golf Championship.
On a jet you all have chartered.
Yeah, so we do have an airplane that will be coming from Northern Ireland to Memphis.
Just a random jet, just some jet you called Jet Rentals. No,
JetRentals.com. Yeah,
so
jet,
right?
it is a Mark Cuban airplane. It's the same airplane that the tournament in Moline, the John Deere Classic, uses to take them over to the Open. It'll stay over in Northern Ireland, and then we will bring the passengers back, which will have the majority of our players, only being 75 players compared to 156. Most of our players will be on this airplane and will land in Memphis on Sunday night. But, the economic impact is that all those people, all those media members that are over there, they come to Memphis, they'll be here for the entire week. All of our different partners that are coming in town that are activating at the tournament, they'll be staying at hotels, they'll be eating out at restaurants, they'll be shopping, all of that. So we have a lot of regional focus of people coming in for the weekend. So that will generate a significant economic impact.
And the other four WGC events are in, I think I have this right, Shanghai, Mexico City, and Austin, Texas.
That's right.
Right, and what you're talking about, maybe a billion households, 220 countries and territories. Just again, back to this scale. And I'm curious, Jeff, I mean, you and I both adopted Memphis, moved here around the same time, 25-ish years ago. And there's always this kind of chip on the shoulder thing with Memphis that is diminishing, it seems like, as time goes by. But this kind of stuff sometimes matters to people, that it's that elevation and putting Memphis on the stage. And I'm curious how that plays out with you from people you hear on the talk show. And I mean, does this kind of stuff resonate with the average sports fan of a sort of moment of pride?
I think there's a real, I think we like to be on television. People like it when it's on television, and you like to see the shots of Memphis, and you like to see the shots of the pit, and you like to I think, and I honestly think most cities are like this. They like to see themselves on TV, and that's the part of this that I think is, and I don't know what the TV audience is, but compared to what it used to be, it's going to be a vastly bigger TV audience. There's actually, what you see is sometimes Memphis is guilty of jealousy of other places. What you actually see is a lot of jealousy of Memphis. When Washington D.C. lost their tournament date, there was, when they lost to Memphis, this is 10 years ago, there was, why does Memphis get this? Why is Memphis getting the World Golf? And so we're in this interesting position that people are jealous of this event being in this city. And it's obvious why it is. First of all, historical support of golf in the city, but it's obviously FedEx has a lot to do with it. But there is a certain pride for really what was Memphis's original pro sports franchise. Before there were the Grizzlies, there was this golf tournament that came every year that brought the best in the world to Memphis. And now the best in the world are coming back.
And has it always resonated? I mean, again, whether it was a column you wrote or some on social media or again on the radio show, does it resonate both as an event, but does it resonate in terms of golf tournament?
In terms of like pure clicks, which is how we people measure things now or whatever, golf doesn't resonate like I mean, if you could get Penny Hardaway playing this tournament, that would be great too, and Tiger, that would be great. Yeah. But like, it's just true. It's different. There will be people in England reading the columns. There will be people. It's just, and then if Tiger comes, it will be insanity. It will truly be one of, and I hate to put this on you because it's a great event. That's the only thing I don't like about the Tiger Mania is, if for whatever reason he's get injured or he decides not to come, you don't want it to diminish it. It is a unbelievable event, Tiger or not Tiger. But if Tiger comes, it's going to be pure insanity. It will be one of the great sports events because people had really given up. They thought he never would play Memphis.
There's no question that, a Tiger event is different than a non-Tiger event. So his significance it can't be understated by any means. What I see in the community is I see a lot of people saying almost like we deserve this. I see a lot of people like, hey, we've been the FedEx St. Jude Classic. It's been successful, and to Jeff's point, that people like to see Memphis, and they like to see the stars in Memphis. Right. They want to see Tiger Woods walking the fairways of TPC Southwind. That hey, he's in our hometown, and we're passionate about our hometown, and he gets to experience St. Jude and knows what St. Jude means to our community. So I see a lot of people that are talking about it's about time. Right. This is what we need.
Well, this is what we volunteers. Deserve. Think of how many volunteers have. You go out there on a given, and there are people who've been there for 50, whatever, for 40 years have been volunteering, and it's how many volunteers do you have?
So I have 1,800 volunteers that work over 25,000 hours. And a lot of those people, they take their vacation
to do this golf tournament, and so so there is a sense of, and they've been doing this for years and years and years.
We have volunteers that leave Memphis that go, they get relocated for a job. They come back just for this tournament to work this tournament. We have one of our committee chairs that lives in Ohio now, and he comes back every year to work the FedEx St. Jude Invitational.
Let's talk about St. Jude, because I think I got us off track from that. That role, and money is raised for them. How does that all play out, St. Jude's role?
Yeah, so St. Jude, the partnership that we have with them, it's we're integrated in everything that we do. It's important to FedEx, of course, but just the way that you go to our tournament and you go to another tournament on the PGA Tour, you might go to another tournament on the PGA Tour, you won't know who the charity is. You won't know who the sole beneficiary is, but that's the great thing about the PGA Tour is that we play in these communities to give back to these communities, but here in Memphis, we integrate St. Jude in everything. We might have an honorary pin flag holder on the 18th green. We might, we'll dedicate a FedEx airplane in honor of a FedEx team member who unfortunately has a son or daughter who's a patient at St. Jude. So we're going to continue to drive awareness and raise funds for them. We've raised over $43 million, and we only expect for that to grow exponentially in the coming years.
It used to be through a Pro-Am, which would happen. That would be the money-raising vehicle. There's no longer a Pro-Am. How do you raise money for
so corporate hospitality sales, those hospitality venues that we're selling right now, those impact what we give to St. Jude. Our volunteers, they fundraise for St. Jude. They do a peer-to-peer fundraising program where they ask their friends or their neighbors to give them $10, $5, $4, whatever it might be for the hours that they work. Last year alone, that raised $450,000. So we take a collection of events that are tied to tournament week. And it's not just that one tournament that is producing the money. It's anything and everything that can be tied in some regard to the tournament. A Tuesday night concert that has an auction that raises $400,000.
A host of other events that are going on.
No doubt.
At FedEx Forum. Not a little concert, right? There's a ton of stuff happening.
Yes, a lot of those might have a charitable tie-in in some regard. There's houses at Southwind that host parties that raise $200,000. If you come to the party at Southwind in the tournament, well, it costs for you to attend. Put it in the bucket, and that's going to the hospital. So that's what's really unique about the community in our tournament.
A question for both of you, just 2 minutes left. Do the athletes care about that? Do the actual, and I don't want to name names here, but I'm sure there's some who don't. I'm sure there's some who do, but do they kind of connect with the St. Jude experience and the whole culture?
They, without question, I would say that the athletes don't base their schedule by anything around that. But there is no question about it when they get on site at our tournament that they know there's a difference. They go to the hospital, they go to the charity, they interact with patients. Last year, Dustin Johnson, as soon as he won, he made a contribution to the hospital. Now, Dustin doesn't want to, publicize, and he's not looking to get publicity for it, but that was important to him because he knows that, hey, after he won, he had that St. Jude patient and he made a contribution, and Brooks Koepka has done the same thing. Daniel Berger, all of them usually get a connection to the hospital once they play.
Is
here.
it always, by the way, going to be this date? And you picked the hottest date of the year? Is that what was that? The
That's our
strategy
goal.
going into it?
It's a summertime sport, so
We go weed these people out,
Yeah.
test them.
Exactly. So the dates are always fluid on the PGA Tour, especially in Olympic years.
Right.
So now golf's back in the Olympics, and we'll play the Olympics in 2020. So, and that'll be in Tokyo. So there will be probably some fluidity in the PGA Tour schedule. But we're always going to be in the summertime. There's no question about it. That's really the only time you can play professional golf in Memphis too. I mean, you could play it in the fall, but honestly, that's what the shift of the PGA Tour schedule was, to get away from fall, because there's a certain sport that dominates, TV, and that's football. So that's the big shift that we made, is to try to finish golf in August.
And you may have said it, but one more time with 30 seconds left, the top 10 who've committed right now, you have 5 of the top 10 committed? Is that correct?
Yeah. So 5 of the top 10 have already committed to play.
Which, name them real quick, can you?
Yeah, so Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay, Justin Rose, that's 3 of them, correct?
Bryson
DeChambeau.
I knew that.
And put me on the spot. I can't name all
okay,
five.
no, that's unfair to you. But
Name the 4 barbecue places.
No, yeah, don't do that, because we're out. We're all done. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Daryl.
Yep.
And thank you for joining us. Join us again next week.